Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 3 of this Array Calc series. In this episode, we are going to add some subs, compare them, and add font fills. So let's head back into the sources view. Go back to the plus. You've got two options when putting in subs. You can add it as a point source or a subarray. We are going to add it as a point source, and then we can later go in and look at subarrays. Let's call it subs. The set of subs we're going to use, and the way it's always listed in Array Calc, is under the subs section. We are going to have two subs to keep it simple. The current subs it's default selected are the B2s, which have dual 18-inch drivers in them. These subs could potentially be too big for this venue. Then again, it depends how you configure it. What we'll do is we will try it with a single B2. Let's go one. Get rid of that. Let's bring it forward. Let's bring it about 1 meter forward. Don't need to worry about that. All said, we don't need to worry about that. Let's apply the layout. And then this would act, in middle, would act as a mono sub in between the two stereo speakers. And in its current position would give the best layout for a single sub to cover evenly across the room. Right, so let's go to the top. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's just do a broadband pink noise. Let's turn off the tops. And let's just recalculate. Let's go up to adjust. So our max SPL on here is 102.4. And there's not much on stage, as the stage itself is blocking the rear of the sub. However, because of the type it's sub, the bass is pretty omnidirectional. So you still get a lot of sub behind or coming out the rear of the cabinet. Next, let's compare that to a smaller sub. So let's create a new one. Add point sources. So 2. Let's rename this one. You can rename literally just by double clicking. And let's call this one B2. Go back to the other one. Subs. Let's go 2 cabinets and let's go something smaller. So let's pick a subwoofer. So the B4 is a cardioid subwoofer with a 15-inch driver in the front and a 12-inch driver in the back. The B6 is a single 18-inch reflex sub. The B8 is actually dual, there's two 6.5-inch drivers in parallel. The B22 is two 18-inch drivers like the B2, but is set up as a bandpass horn. So for this, let's go for... Let's start with the B6. And then let's put them further apart and see how it reacts in the room. And then we can always go down to the B4 if it is too much. So let's get this 1 meter in front. Then let's say let's try 3 meters apart. We could put them further out, so we could put them closer to the pillars. Let's apply the layout. Maybe I could try 4. Let's try that to start with. Make sure the B2s are turned off. And recalculate. And let's adjust. So in this configuration, we have a more of an even response, going minus 6 dB every level. So our highest SPL is 96, so we're actually getting a less high total highest SPL, but then you're getting a more even total response across the venue. Now let's compare them with the 12 tops. Set unmute them and recalculate. So we're still maxing out at 96.9 dB high as the highest SPL, and it's still an even response across the venue. I am going to jump over to the 3D plot instead. Bring this in a little bit. Just gives you a better view of everything that's going on in the venue. Let's set this up again. Yep, that's correct. Let's recalculate. So here we can see there's actually quite a bit going onto the stage. Let's see if that's the tops or the subs. That seems to be the tops that are coming onto the stage. Now we've jumped up to 108.6 dB. Now let's try this with the B2s. So I'm just going to quickly rename that to the B6 times 2. Mute that, unmute that, and recalculate. Got quite a bit of a different pattern there. And let's see the difference between the tops. What I am going to do is I'm actually going to bring the E12s up slightly, as we still got some room to bring them further up, and then it basically means that hotspot should go. So let's put them at 4 meters instead. One of the downsides of this software can be that it'll get rid of potentially the things you've previously done. So I just need to get this back to where it was. Right, I have repositioned the tops. I've put them further up at 4 meters, which changes the vertical to be minus 12 degrees instead of what it was previously. So when I click recalculate and adjust, that hotspot spreads itself out, so it's a more even overall. So that major hotspot does go. Next, I am going to add another point source. This time I am going to try the B22 to see how it differs from the B2 with its dispersion characteristics. So let's stick the 1 in. We want it E2 in front. Let's clear the SPL so we can see what we're doing. B22. I'll turn that off. So now it should be in the same position. Let's go to sources to double check. Which it is. And let's recalculate. Let's mute the tops. See how it does. This has a highest SPL of 101.2. And you can see a lot of it is coming from the middle. Something you can also do if you want to compare the different subs or different tops is you can come up here to this bar, and I am going to click the save button and save this one to A. I am then going to mute this one, go to the B2, recalculate, save, go to B. Lastly, I am going to do the same with the B6. Save, go to C. Now, when we go to the quad view, you still have a live view, so you could put a fourth one in and try again, but you'd have to keep it on live rather than saving it. You can see the different dispersion characteristics between the different subwoofers. The B is the B2 and A is the B22. From looking at this pattern, the B2 has a wider, more even response across the room. So that's the sub I am going to pick. Back to live view. 12 and B2. Recalculate. And adjust. To delete these sources, you just right click on the source and click delete. Now we only have the 12 tops and the single B2 sub. If I get with the B2 and go just with the tops and recalculate, there is a slight gap in the middle in the dispersion. So what I'm going to do just for this tutorial is I am going to add a front fill in. Typically this won't necessarily be needed, as you'd still get the off-axis dispersion which would cover this area, and that's why there's more of a straight line here rather than a dip. So I am going to go up to where it says E12. I am then going to right click and I can duplicate. Let's rename this E12 center. I'm going to make it only one cabinet. And then I am going to reset this to be at 0. And then I am just going to get rid of the horizontal dispersion. What you could also do is you could bring this one slightly further back. So instead of being at 1.5 meters, bring it at 1 meter. From looking at the dispersion of the cabinet, it has quite a narrow throw because we're still using the 80-degree version. So I am going to jump up to the 110-degree version, which will give a lot wider dispersion for front fill. And then I am going to point it down at -12, which should match up with the others. I also have the option to bring it back even further. So let's go 0.5 meter. Then that would cover majority of that front area that wasn't covered previously. As a front row can probably go here. And let's recalculate. Now there is quite a hotspot, so we could go for a smaller speaker, as this would mainly just be for vocal range. So we've got an E6 that can do 100 degrees. So let's pick that. And that one will fit quite nicely between two. We can probably get rid of the cut, and let's recalculate. Now, as you can see, that hotspot has gone, but we have introduced more noise onto stage. So let's put the cut back in and see the difference. It has reduced it. And as you can see, we're also getting a lovely even response. In the next episode, we are going to look at adding delays and using time alignment. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and either like or dislike.